The tragic death of a 2-year-old girl in Marana, Arizona, has brought to light the severe consequences of parental neglect and the dangers of leaving children unattended in vehicles. Christopher Scholtes, a 37-year-old father, faces charges of second-degree murder and child abuse following the death of his daughter, Parker Scholtes, who was left in a hot car while he was distracted by video games. This incident has not only devastated the Scholtes family, but has also sparked a broader conversation about child safety and the responsibilities of caregivers. Christopher Scholtes, a lifelong resident of Arizona, was described as unemployed and without a history of felony convictions or prior domestic violence arrests. On July 9, 2024, Scholtes returned home with his daughter, Parker, after running errands. According to his statement to the police, he left Parker in the car with the air conditioning running, intending to let her sleep. However, the car was parked in direct sunlight, and the air conditioning automatically shut off after 30 minutes. On July 9, 2024, a tragedy unfolded in Marana, Arizona, when 2-year-old Parker Scholtes was found unresponsive in her father's car. The incident occurred in the 5100 block of West Payton's Court, where temperatures soared to 109 degrees Fahrenheit 40 to 0.8 degrees Celsius that afternoon. At 4:16 p.m., a frantic 911 call was placed by the family, reporting the lifeless child inside the vehicle parked in their driveway. Christopher Scholtes, the 37-year-old father, initially told officers that he had arrived home with his daughter asleep in the car seat and decided to leave her in the vehicle with the air conditioning running. He claimed he didn't want to wake her, a decision that would have fatal consequences. Marana police officers and the Northwest Fire District responded promptly to the scene. Upon arrival, they found Parker's mother performing CPR on the child. Despite the mother's efforts and the subsequent life-saving measures performed by the Northwest Fire District, Parker was pronounced deceased at 4:58 p.m. at Banner University Medical Center. That same evening, Marana police detectives obtained a search warrant and began a thorough investigation of the incident. This initial phase involved collecting evidence from the scene, including the vehicle, and gathering statements from family members and neighbors. As the investigation progressed, detectives conducted in-depth interviews with Christopher Scholtes, his wife Erica, a medical doctor, and their 2 other children, aged 9 and 5. These interviews revealed crucial information that contradicted Scholtes' initial statement and painted a disturbing pattern of neglect. During his interview, Scholtes maintained that he had returned home around 2:30 p.m. and left Parker in the car with the air conditioning running. He admitted to knowing that the car's engine and air conditioning would automatically shut off after 30 minutes, a critical piece of information that would later factor into the charges against him. Perhaps the most damning evidence came from interviews with Scholtes' other children. They told detectives that their father regularly left them alone in a vehicle while he got distracted by playing his game and putting away his food. This pattern of behavior suggested that the incident with Parker was not an isolated occurrence, but part of a larger issue of neglect. The investigation took a significant turn when detectives obtained security camera footage from neighboring residences. This footage contradicted Scholtes' timeline, showing that he had actually arrived home at 12:53 p.m., more than 3 hours before Parker was found. The video evidence also showed Scholtes entering the house alone, with no indication that he checked on Parker during the entire period. In the aftermath of the tragedy, text messages exchanged between Christopher and Erica Scholtes provided further insight into the family dynamics and previous incidents. These messages, later included in court documents, revealed a history of concerns about Scholtes leaving the children unattended in vehicles. Erica's text to Christopher read, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you? We've lost her. She was perfect." Christopher's response was equally telling. "Babe, our family. How could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." These messages not only indicated prior incidents, but also captured the immediate shock and grief following Parker's death. Based on the evidence gathered, including the surveillance footage, interviews, and text messages, Christopher Scholtes was arrested on July 12, 2024. At 8:38 a.m., he was booked into the Pima County Adult Detention Center on charges of second-degree murder and child abuse. The decision to charge Scholtes with second-degree murder rather than a lesser charge like manslaughter reflects the prosecution's view that his actions showed an extreme indifference to human life. Under Arizona law, second-degree murder can be applied when someone takes actions reckless or indifferent to human life that result in death. Following his arrest, Scholtes appeared before a judge in a virtual court session. During this initial hearing, the state requested a $1 million bond, citing concerns about the severity of the charges and the potential flight risk. However, in a surprising turn of events, the judge decided to release Scholtes without bond. This decision was likely influenced by several factors. 1. Scholtes' lack of prior felony convictions or domestic violence arrests. 2. His status as a lifelong Arizona resident, reducing flight risk. 3. The nature of the incident as a tragic accident rather than an intentional act. For Erica Scholtes' plea to the court, describing the incident as a significant misjudgment and requesting her husband's release to begin the grieving process as a family. A preliminary hearing was set for August 1, 2024, where more details of the case will be presented, and the court will determine if there is enough evidence to proceed to trial. As the case progressed, investigators continued to gather and analyze evidence. A PlayStation console and other electronics were seized from the Scholtes residence, corroborating the children's statements about their father's video game distractions. The family's 2023 Acura MDX, the vehicle in which Parker died, was also taken as evidence. Detectives are likely to continue interviewing witnesses, analyzing electronic records, and consulting with medical experts to build a comprehensive case. The autopsy report and toxicology results will play a crucial role in establishing the exact cause and time of Parker's death. If convicted of second-degree murder, Christopher Scholtes could face a sentence ranging from 25 years to life in prison. The additional charge of child abuse could result in further penalties. However, the case presents complex legal and ethical questions. While Scholtes' actions resulted in a tragic death, the defense may argue that it was a case of criminal negligence rather than murder. The history of leaving children in the car, as revealed by the other children and text messages, could be used by both the prosecution to show a pattern of reckless behavior, and by the defense to argue that previous incidents had not resulted in harm, potentially clouding Scholtes' judgment about the risks. The death of Parker Scholtes has sent shockwaves through the Marana community and beyond. It serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of leaving children unattended in vehicles, especially in the extreme heat of Arizona summers. In response to this tragedy, local authorities and child safety organizations have renewed their efforts to educate the public about the risks of hot car deaths. The Marana Police Department issued a statement urging parents and caregivers to remain vigilant and take every precaution to ensure children's safety. The case of Christopher Scholtes and the death of his daughter Parker is a heartbreaking example of how a moment of negligence can lead to irreversible tragedy. As the legal proceedings continue, it will undoubtedly spark discussions about parental responsibility, the dangers of distraction in childcare, and the need for increased awareness about hot car deaths. While the justice system will determine Christopher Scholtes' legal fate, the loss of young Parker serves as a somber reminder of the paramount importance of child safety and the potentially fatal consequences of leaving children unattended in vehicles, even for short periods. As the community grapples with this tragedy, it is hoped that increased awareness and vigilance will prevent similar incidents in the future.